In today's video, the easiest way to go from 20% body fat down to 10% body fat. I'm gonna show you how myself, along with many others, individuals like Drea, individuals like Dan, individuals like Aaron, I've interviewed them and I've talked to them and I've coached many people through this process. And I'm gonna explain to you today the easiest way. I'm gonna give you a free guide and I'm gonna make sure you reach your goal in 2025. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com. In today's video, I really want to break down the idea of taking a physique from what the kids would say is mid or pretty average, right? 20% body fat. I think for most men, we can maintain 20% body fat relatively easy. And for women, probably somewhere around the 25% body fat is where you can maintain, you can train hard, you can eat well, you can enjoy life. But some of us want to push the envelope and get down to a physique that is, well, rather spectacular. I'll show you my physique here at 10% body fat, which I diet down. Now I get much leaner. I get down to right here around 5% body fat when I get on stage and try to win some of these bodybuilding competitions. But that's not necessarily what this video is about, but I want to talk about the process of going from where I've been at my heaviest down to my leanest and what I've learned along the way, and also what I've learned from the individuals that I've worked with that have been a part of our Transformation Challenge. And I'm going to include a free guide and explain just what is the easiest way. And so when I talk about something being easy, let me dispel this myth. Nothing is completely easy, okay? But I want to tell you how to make it as easy as it can be for you, because I think we're always looking for that thing that we can change, that thing that we can do. And there are some quick little adjustments. Most of the problems with fat loss come down to our own personal reasons for not wanting to change. And for that reason, I often say, body fat is not stubborn. People are stubborn. Body fat is just a reserve of energy on our body that is maintained through us not creating a lifestyle or an approach that's going to allow us to get there. So whenever we're talking about a lifestyle or approach on how to get there, the first thing I like to do is offer you guys my free calculator, ProPhysique.com/calculator. I'll show it on the screen here. You can put all your information in. You can say you want to lose fat. You can say your height, your weight, all these things. And it's going to spit out some dietary information. Now, that's all well and good, but it doesn't really matter if you don't follow it. So what is the easiest way to follow a successful diet? Something that I've learned from myself, from the people that I've talked to, there is something that successful people do when it comes to fat loss that most people don't do. What is it? They plan their meals ahead. They already know what they're eating tomorrow. They might know what they're eating 2 days from now. They might know what they're eating 3 days from now. And if they don't, they've got food prepared so that they can easily grab something, measure it, track it, and make sure it fits their daily goals. The most difficult things for any of us that have a busy life is figuring out what we're gonna eat from hour to hour, breakfast, lunch, dinner, over and over again, right? And what happens? Convenience happens. So I'm gonna tell you the easiest way to avoid problems with diet is a meal prep service. Go your area, wherever you live, and type in meal prep services. There are these micro companies, right, that are local to you, that are doing meal preps. They'll often put great meals together. They taste great. They're, sometimes between, $10 and $12, which might sound expensive, but I went through a fast food drive-through the other day and it was like $14, $15 for my meal. So these meal prep services are actually gonna save you money. Now, if you're really, really interested, we can help you set up a meal plan of foods that you meal prep. Comment below if you'd like me to do a meal prep video for multiple days. The cheapest way to eat healthy. It's a video that I've wanted to do for a long time and I've never really had the kind of motivation to do it. But if you'd like to see me do a meal prep, how to do like meal prep for under $5 a meal for multiple days, and help you reach your goals, I'd love to do that video. I just need a little momentum. But for today's video, I do have a free guide for you. I'll show it on the screen here. It's gonna include things like your training plan, your nutrition plan. It's completely free. All you have to do is use the link below. I'll put it in the description and I'll probably put it in the first comment as well. So you can go there and download this guide, which I'm showing you on the screen here. We put a lot of effort and energy into this. But the idea is to give you guys the tools to reach your goal, because easy is something that we want to hear. A lot more people are going to click on a video if I say the easiest way to go from 20% to 10% body fat versus the realistic truth about going from 20% to 10% body fat. Now, how long should this take? 20% body fat, like I said, is a pretty maintainable number. 15% is where we start to get into some resistance. So if I wanted to go from 20% to 10%, I'd probably give myself between 12 and 16 weeks to really focus on that goal. And that's where you should be. Now, I will tell you, the closer you get to 10%, the more aggressive you've got to kind of be with your cardio and your calories to kind of get that last little bit off. If you see some of the transformations, like if you see Dan Devine here, his before and after, when I interviewed him, what he really was able to do was kind of ramp up his step count because he only used walking for cardio.
And so I set my goal to be 2 million steps, which would be 22,222. So my daily average was around 25. I actually exceeded that. My daily average was around 25,000 steps.
He watched some of my older videos on walking and he was very diligent. He had Excel spreadsheets. And he also brought down his calories accordingly, but he didn't lose any muscle. In fact, he actually looks more muscular, but that's just through the process of losing body fat. Dan is natural. He was a natural, and I'm a natural bodybuilder too. And I think the misconception can be in pictures, you can look crazy when you're very lean, but Dan was, I think, 6 foot and 160 pounds, 165 pounds. When I diet down, I'm 6'3", 195 pounds. So those numbers don't sound so impressive, but the pictures can look quite impressive. So let's talk about the easiest form of cardio that we can do to lose weight. And this is where I think there's a lot of, over my lifetime of trying to get leaner and lose body fat, I've come to this conclusion that it's way easier than I was making it early on. I was often using cardio as, a tool that I thought had to be very intense, very high intense, very short, kind of focused sessions. And I never really looked at what the actual people that were having the most success losing body fat were doing. What are those people doing? Walking. That's right. They're moving more throughout the day than other people. It's that simple. There's an actual research study that shows when they overfed a group of people, some people gained body fat, some people fidgeted more. So fidgeting, moving throughout the day more, can actually help alleviate fat gain. If we look at populations that are more sedentary, there's more disease, more obesity. If we look at populations where there's more walking and more activity, you guessed it, leaner, less disease. So something that I've been incorporating for years now is a treadmill in my office, and I'll put it in front of the TV. I'll even try to go for more walks outside when the weather permits and my schedule permits. But the idea is that movement makes things easy. It sounds too good to be true, but when I tell you that the last few times that I've dieted down for bodybuilding shows, and yes, I've won, the only form of cardio that I did was walking. Now walking, if you haven't seen my video, I'll try to remember to put it in the box here so you can see it. I did a video last year where I tested different forms of cardio and how many calories you burn. Walking flat outside, walking on an incline with a vest, these types of things. And what I found was there's a huge difference in how many calories you burn. So just saying you're walking, you can burn quite as much as double the amount of calories from walking flat by walking on an incline, right? In the same amount of time. So when someone says, well, I'm already walking an hour and I've plateaued, I say, well, when you make that next adjustment, increase the intensity and the speed of your walking. You're still walking, okay? Low intensity steady state does what? It burns fat primarily as a fuel source. A lot of times people will say, well, coach, I don't think I'm burning fat because I just had a meal before I did my cardio, or I just had some carbohydrates and I spiked my blood sugar, so the insulin is preventing fat loss. That is a complete falsity. The body burns fat based on the intensity of the exercise, not based on what has been done with your nutrition prior to it, okay? Now that's basic human physiology. That's in these textbooks here behind me, okay? Body fat is burned based on the intensity of the exercise. In fact, when we're sleeping, we're almost 100% using fat for fuel. Problem is we're not burning a lot of it, right? But low intensity cardio, like walking, stepping like that, you're going to be preferentially burning fat for fuel. Now, why does that matter? If we were just trying to create a caloric deficit, why would it matter the intensity of the exercise? Here's why. The higher the intensity of the exercise, it becomes more glucose burning. Glucose burning makes hunger skyrocket. That's right. If you've ever done any type of running, sprinting, high intensity sport, it's going to increase your hunger. Now, if you can manage and control it, that's fine. However, I've never gone for a walk, come back and been ravenous. That is going to make it easier. And that's what this video is about, guys. I want to really give you guys the tools to make it easy. And when we're talking about making something easy, the two things that I've said so far is you got to meal prep, you got to know what you're eating, you got to be, accountable to your diet, but you've also got to move more throughout the day. Now, this might sound like the old adage, eat less, move more. I'm not suggesting you need to eat less. I'm suggesting you need to eat more consistently and have a plan in place so that when the going gets tough, you have a stressful day, you're hungry, you don't go to that drive-through. You don't have that extra 500 or 1,000 calories, because with fat loss, especially getting down to like a 10% body fat where you're asking about, having an off day or two where you overeat by 500 or 1,000 calories, it's not a big deal in the grand scheme of life. But you're gonna lose the momentum for about an entire week. And then when you lose that momentum and you don't see the progress in the pictures, you don't see the progress on the scale, you're more than likely to just give up and stop doing it. And so this is where I want to talk to you guys about having a deadline. If you do not have a deadline for your goal, you will not reach it, okay? Whenever someone comes to me and says, hey, I'm interested in working with you as a coach, but I don't want to do a bodybuilding show, but I want to look like a bodybuilder. Guess what I say? I'm sorry, but the reason that we get that lean is because of the deadline of knowing I'm getting on a bodybuilding stage, and it gives me that like momentum at the end, the last 4-6 weeks that are very challenging. I know I've got that deadline coming, and it makes me more diligent. So for this reason, and if I want to show you this picture here of Drea, her before and after, and this picture of Dan and Aaron, the ones that I showed you at the beginning of this video, and I have got hundreds of examples of amazing transformations. They were a part of our 90-day transformation challenge. Now, the 90-day transformation challenge gives you a few things. It gives you a deadline. We also include more than 100 meal plans and training plans. We also give you a private support group. Why does this matter? Because when it comes to making something easy, it helps to be a part of a community as well. So the 4 major factors that are going to make this process easier for you are going to be understanding where your nutrition is and making it simplified, doing some meal prep. And again, if you'd like to see me do a nice and easy meal prep video, go to the grocery store, cook the food, meal prep, and show you how I can make meals for multiple days for under $5 that are going to hit your macros and be delicious. Comment below, I'd like to do that. But that's the type of thing that successful people do. And why do they do that? Because they have that deadline. Finding ways to move more. Okay, not everybody has a treadmill at their house, but most of us can either go to the gym or find a place to exercise before, during, after work, before the kids get up, after the kids go to bed. We can find ways to move more. Heck, I've got clients that have little pedals underneath their desk that they pedal during the day, and they've had great success with that. I have people that do standing desks, slow walking desks. We can find excuses to move more. When it matters to you, you find a reason to get it done. So the easiest way is to just make sure that your cardio is not invasive, that you've planned ahead and with your meals, and then you've got to have a deadline. You've got to say, hey, I want to look great for summer. Guess what? Summer will be here soon. It's already February. The Super Bowl is over. In the next 90 days, you can be ready for summer, okay? And that's what I'm doing. I'm actually probably gonna diet down. Guys, I'm 50 this year. I turned 50 in October, and I'm actually excited to kind of see what I can get my body to look like after being in the gym for 30 years and understanding all these nutrition things. And part of the thing that I wanna do is get shredded and diet down and get really lean to show you guys how that process looks, take you along for the journey. It gets me excited about being involved. So comment below if you'd like to take part in this with me. I'd love to see you guys over the next couple months, the rest of this year, take part in this process of going from 20% down to 10%, whatever your goal is. Maybe it's 30% to 15%. Wherever you're at and wherever you want to get, the rules are the same. It's going to get more challenging the leaner you want to get, but I got to say, the feedback gets even crazier the leaner you get. And it can be very exciting, especially if you have a deadline, if you've ever wanted to look like that. And I'm not suggesting that everyone needs to, but what I want for everyone is to have control and understand what they're capable of based on their specific needs and desires. That's what I'm here for. So love to ask any questions below. I'd love to address them. Keep asking me the questions on the Instagram direct message. Check out that free guide that I sent, even if you don't want to take part in our challenge. But if you want to join the challenge for 50 bucks with a chance to win 25,000, we're doing cash prizes there. And we're also open worldwide. We've had people from the United Kingdom, people from Australia win our transformation challenge. So feel free to join. I'd love to have you in that private group. Registration's open. Pictures are ready to be uploaded. All right, guys. Hope you guys are having a great start to the week, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.